Hello guys, I am Upadhyay from the Department of English, Maharaja Krishna Kumar City, Bhavnagar University. In this year 2025, we are going to celebrate Virtual Teachers Day, and as part of activity of this Teachers Day, I am going to discuss in this video about John Keats and his grade 6 Odes. So let's begin. John Keats, born in 1775 and died in 1821. He was a famous English romantic poet. If we look at the romantic poets, so there were two groups and two parts of the romantic poets. First were the William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge. We call them first generation poet. And second are Keats, Byron and Shelley, and we can call them second generation romantic poets. So John Keats belonged to second generation romantic poet. Now he has very rich career as a writer. We can call posthumously, obviously, but he had wrote his great odes during the mainly focusing years of 1890 and 1820. So between these 2 years, he wrote his grade 6 odes, which are, let's discuss in briefly. First is grade 6 odes. Okay. So we know that ode is a form of poetry written for a specific thing or specific person and dedicated fully this poet to a specific thing or person. So that is the ode, which is the form of poetry. Now, first ode he wrote that Ode to Nightingale. Ode to Nightingale. In 1819, Keats went to his friend Charles Brown's home for living for 5 or 6 days, and that time he wrote Ode to Nightingale, inspired by a nightingale bird. And also we can see that in 1821 Keats died because of tuberculosis, and the year that is the 1890 is the, like we can call, the last part of his life, and in just 2 years he became the died. So Ode to Nightingale we wrote that time. This poem is divided into 8 stanzas of 10 lines, so 18-line poem, and famously wrote the perspective of Keats in the form of nightingale, like how nightingale feel in the melancholic tone, but we can find that nightingale is represent Keats himself and his own poetic feelings. Second is Ode to Gratian. This is very famous ode by Keats. We all know, but Grecian urn is a thing that the urn belongs to Greece, and it has a specific drawing on it. So he is inspired by seeing this Grecian urn, and he immediately wrote the odes on this Grecian urn and described how beautiful the ode is. And we also remember the famous line of this ode that truth is beauty and beauty is truth. Third is Ode to Autumn. Ode to Autumn. So we know autumn is a season after spring, but we can call the autumn in a very egregious way of nature. But the ode itself is a beautiful way and a beautiful season according to Keats, because Keats is celebrating the season of ode in this whole poem. Fourth is Ode to Psyche. Ode to Psyche. So Ode to Psyche is a poem written by Keats dedicated to a particular goddess Psyche. So Psyche, she is a goddess of soul and mind. Soul and mind in Greek mythology. So it he described the love affair between Psyche and his lover, her lover Cupid, but in very normal and romantic form with too much exaggeration of imagination, because Keats himself belonged to the movement of imagination and the romanticism. So Psyche in a new way presented by Keats as a romantic figure in the poetry Ode to Psyche, which is also described the under feeling which has been buried under the Keats' mind. That is, he wanted to become a priest for Psyche, and he wanted to make a temple for Psyche. So this whole idea described in the poem Ode to Psyche. Then fifth is the Ode on Melancholy. Ode on Melancholy, it is a beautiful ode and which describes, what is the meaning of melancholy. What is the meaning of melancholy? But at that same time, the Keats himself is happy on the feeling between sorrow and joy. How he is celebrating sorrow and joy. Melancholy, it is very sad thing, but together he celebrates sorrow and joy, both feeling, because he knows that he will die soon because of tuberculosis. So he celebrates both things, sorrow and joy, negative and positive, both sides of our feeling, our mind in this poetry, Ode of Melancholy. Then comes his final sixth great ode on indolence. So this last ode is very far from the classical figure, classical example, because in this poem Keats emphasized on the imagination, that he imagined the three priestesses of the Roman or Greco time, and he imagined that these all three priestesses belongs to dedicated God particular. But Keats imagined himself as a God, and he find that in my life there is no any priestesses, there is no any woman to serve me or to love me. So Keats at the end became in very melancholic tone, that Keats struggles between desire for achievement and surrender to inaction. And this poetry rejects the all three priestesses by using ideal state. So this is the brief idea of Keats' sixth ode. Now, if we look at the common thing of this sixth ode, so we can find that in this old sixth ode, Keats is celebrating imagination, and then also he described the struggle between art, immortality, and human suffering. In particular, the Ode to Nightingale and Vision. We know that Vision is written in specific thing. Earth is a mortal thing; it will be decay soon. But Keats want to immortal the earth, and the immortal the images already draw on that earth. Then the confronting sorrow and apathy, especially in this Ode to Melancholy, he is celebrating sorrow and joy both together. Then reconciliation and acceptance of life's cycle. So he knows that all things, all human beings are mortal, and he also returned this sixth ode at that time, 1890, and within the 2 years he died. So he knows what is the feeling for a human being to path of dying, that he is dying, but at that time also he is celebrating the feelings of dying. So we can also say that he was enjoying the feeling of death. So this was the whole structure, briefly analysis of this sixth ode. Now, if we look at some other classic and famous poems like Keats, so Endymion, Return of the Moon Goddess in Greek mythology, then comes the Labrador which is very famous classic poem in a form of very descriptive, romantic, and image in a way of imagination. Because in that poem, a soldier is imagined a beautiful lady with the mercilessness nature. So Laveradens's Mercy, it is also a famous poem. Then so many poems. Keats also translate Aeneid by Virgil in 12 books in Roman to English, because we can find so many Greek mythological examples in these whole 6 odes. So we know that Keats was too much obsessed and too much interested in the Greco-Roman mythology and the value of mythology in our life. So this was all about a brief introduction about the John Keats and his grade 6 course. So yeah, that's it. Thank you from my side. Thank you so much.